Welcome back to the reality, guys. I'm your host, Billy Blinks, joined as always by my co-host, Brian,
All right, buddy.
Brett,
Oh, what a snoozer.
and joined as always by our friend and host of the Strat Chat podcast, Kyle Petty.
Hey, hey.
As you can see, guys, Survivor 45, we have hit the finale, 3 hour finale and reunion. Full spoilers ahead. Make sure you check us out here and on TikTok. Same with the Strat Chat podcast. Find them on YouTube, TikTok. Kyle will definitely give you the plug at the end of the episode, but follow them on the same things you follow us on. Okay, guys, we are. Oh, listen. I think this is a good season. I'm going to start with this off the top. I know that sometimes we are up and down. I really think this was like an important season for Survivor. We have been historically down on it the last 4 seasons that Brian and I, and then Brett with us the last couple of seasons have reviewed. We needed this. We needed something. I needed a deserving winner. I needed some things, frankly, to happen for me to be mad about, right? Like, I'm glad that we're going to have some things on here that we're going to talk about. It wasn't just a complete walk in the park like our spoiler winner D. Think well deserved, but there were some things that led to her winning that were outside of her control and things I know we're all going to debate here. But before we dive into everything, I want to just get everyone's impressions on D as the winner, the season as a whole. Brian, I'm going to start with you.
I think the right person won. That was in the final three. And as far as the season, I thought it was, again, average.
What was the okay? No, quick though. I do like digging this because Brian has watched every season. This is not just a like want to hate to hate. So, Brian, what was good about the season and what was bad that lands you on the average?
I think bad. I'm still convinced. Like, I don't think a lot of people made crazy moves. Like from my watching, just my opinion. I think the good. This is definitely the best season of the new era. Like out of the five, but again, these seasons need to go above and beyond to even crack me enjoying these seasons. I just don't think it compares. If the days aren't getting longer and the people aren't getting better, then and cast more villains. Until then, it's always going to be average for me. Sorry.
Brett, what do you think?
I mean, I like the season. I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed watching all the New Era seasons, but after seeing the whole thing play out the whole way through and seeing who the winner is, she definitely deserved to win. She played a very good, like old school, social strategic, not even strategic. She literally didn't do anything strategic the whole game. Her except just be social with people and have people love her so much that they won't vote her out. They won't betray her. They'll fall in love with her, whether they're a man or a woman. They both love D. She literally had two number ones and told them both, "Hey, you're my number one, but you're also my number one." Yo, biatch, that's not how math works. You need a number two.
Need a
I
number
think the
two.
game, at the moment D won that final immunity and went to final three, I was like she won easy, easy. They did a good job editing it to make me slightly not think that as it progressed, because like Jake just gets all the content. I'm like, man, I love Jake. He's so much fun. Maybe he'll win. He's the underdog. But that didn't work. And then even Austin, he had some good rebuttals at Tribal Council, but she deserved to win. But it was boring.
Kyle, what'd you think?
I'm in the middle. She definitely deserved to win. No contest there. But it's also really so many other people failed first in order for her to win that like it's so hard to celebrate this win. Once you're looking at the final three, like, yes, of course she should, but like, damn, why didn't we break up Austin and D? Um, I don't know, why didn't we dive in a little bit more? Because like everyone has already said, she didn't make big moves in this game. She did have a very strong social game. I think she won immunity twice. That's certainly something to
3 times. Yeah, this was a third
three
today,
a
but
third.
yeah.
All right, so that was a third. Right. So even more so. I Her resume was strong, but
Listen, I
if other
think
people performed better, she wouldn't have been in that seat and we would have been having a different conversation.
That's what I was saying in mine. It's like, what did people
Yeah.
actually do on the season? Like, I just think people just played a game and then like nothing really stuck out of me.
Right. Did D win or did everyone else lose?
Speaking of D winning immunity, literally, immunity usually means something. This season, it meant nothing. The only person to ever win an immunity that was going to get voted out was Bruce.
Bruce.
Every other person would not have been voted out.
Bruce, who we all
That's fair, very right.
ballyhooed. Yeah.
It ended up just being stats for D, right? I mean, you could say on the flip side there, she didn't give people the opportunity to have a conversation even about blindsiding or throwing her out. And I think that is deserving. I think it's deserving to be likable. Like Brian said, if we don't have a lot of villains, I do want to see somebody who is relatively likable throughout. However, she didn't fall into the showman's trap, which would have derailed the game towards the end. Look, like we'll get to Austin. Like we all have talked about Austin in the reviews. He should have never told her about the move they were going to make, right? And that's what led to this. I mean, that was 2 weeks ago, but none of this happens with all it. Things play out very differently. Things play out very differently today. And it's something I do want to transition to, man, because I'm sorry, but she kind of ruined the finale. Katura, you ruined the finale. You ruined it. I mean, you literally ruined the finale. If she just sticks with the plan, we have a wild, wide open final four. Like we would all been like, shit, like who the hell wins? Like there is like at that point, it is a crapshoot. The fire becomes a crapshoot. It becomes because honestly, Drew did well. Like Austin was kind of talking crap on Drew. Drew might have beat anybody at fire, right? How fast I thought he did a pretty good job at it.
You mean Jake?
Jake. I'm sorry, Jake. But like Katura, like, I mean, she admits to it later on more so than she does initially. She tries to get defensive and say to Jake, well, that's on you for playing it for me. But do you guys blame Katura as much as me, or are you more mad at Jake for not filling her in on the plan?
Jake, 100%.
I blame Jake for not, I guess, not necessarily not telling her, but like being so untrustworthy that she just didn't trust him and that she would flip her vote anyways. I don't know. I mean, I think he should have probably told her. I liked that he played it for her. It didn't matter though, because no one voted for her.
Kyle, what do you think? Is this more Jake's fault or Katura's fault? I honestly do think it's more Jake's fault, but it's just like Katura, just finish it. Just like do it. Like, why wouldn't you vote for D for yourself?
It's super, super tricky, because in this situation, like essentially it's Jake's fault. But like Katura has burnt Jake in the past. So like I understand not fully trusting her, and like I need to have a resume building move if I have an argument, if I get to final three, right? So I kind of understand the logic being left in the dark, especially if you're talking about like how far apart are these eliminations? How far apart are these tribals? Like, if I feel like I only have 24 hours, this might be the one and only time I get to have this conversation set with like her alone, segregated from everybody else. I don't know. It's really, really hard to decide, who's at fault here. But I still think it lies with Jake, obviously, because like, we
listen, Jake's at fault for not telling her, man. But like in my opinion, for her own game, like she's got to go. Like D's got to go. No one is beating D, regardless if he didn't tell her. He still voted for D, and he told her he was voting for D. She said she's voting. That's it. Like you got it. Like you're in the bag, and guess what? Like you can claim stake on that move with Jake, right? When you're in that final three, that is a big move right there, right? Getting rid of everyone would have said consensus winner, and if they all would have said like, yeah, we knew D, you were going to win. Like if we didn't get rid of you, you win. So it makes sense for us to get rid of you. And when I just seen it, I think I'm frustrated as a viewer, and I'm sure I think more for like the viewers of the finale, casual viewers. I even had people messaging me about this. It's just like it took so much air out of the finale, in my opinion, early on. It led to like Brett saying like, this is going to be a snooze fest. We knew there was another immunity challenge. In my head, there was 0% chance that D didn't find her way into the final three, regardless of what she had to do.
Yeah.
And that to me, and I think for a lot of viewers, I mean, if you're a D fan, obviously you're psyched. Like, I mean, great. I mean, we think she's a deserving winner. But just from common sense standpoint and from a viewership standpoint, I'm like, damn, the anarchy would have been way better.
Doesn't that like kind of prove that she had good relationships? If no matter when she got to the final four, that she's going.
She's a deserving winner. No one here is saying D's not a deserving winner.
Who she ends up there?
Why did Jake tell Austin he had an idol?
They're all idiots, man.
That's when I started to be like, Jake, you're a dummy.
I felt was the biggest error, really, in Jake's game.
It was like a snowball effect.
Who would be your friend? Tell me about it.
Every
Why?
person
Yeah, why
there
would he
was under
tell
Dee's
that?
spell, except for Jake. Like even Katura was under Dee's spell. Like
Yeah, yeah.
we didn't see a lot of that content, but apparently D and Katura were very close. And then there's a lot of stuff like D and or not D, Julie and Katura are close where they're talking about, oh, Katura, you're gonna be a great lawyer. You should definitely take the bar. And so like there's a lot of content we're missing. But Katura was very much like in that Reba camp to where she trusted them more than she even trusted Jake, even though Jake was trying to save her ass. But
Yeah.
I think like how did you guys feel about the vote count at the end? Now we didn't, like Brett had noted in pre-show, we didn't see all the votes. So the final vote was what, 5-3, right? As far as
4-3. There was a fifth vote that wasn't shown that was also for D
okay,
because there's eight jurors.
so we would have had 5-3.
They had a 3-3 with Austin and D. So I thought the next vote was going to be a Jake, and then it was going to be a tie 3-3-1, and then Jake was going to become the final juror. The way they edited it, because they made it seem like Caleb was voting for Jake. So we're like, oh, we're going to get a Jake vote, but clearly that wasn't the case. It ended up being a 5-3-0.
Guys, surprised. I honestly thought it was going to be more of a landslide.
Same.
Jake might get like one vote.
Just like a
I don't know, man.
thanks for coming vote.
Yeah, I don't know
You're
about
my
that.
pal vote.
Well, it was
Love you.
interesting that
Love you,
Emily voted for D, and then Kendra voted for Austin. Those were two votes that I thought were maybe like a little weird.
What a flip flop, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Kendrick was just happy to be there, man. Like
I love Kendra.
I don't know, man. She was kind of starting to annoy me by the end of the.
What? I want her to be the reality guy's astrologist or whatever. Like I want her. She reminds me of like the chick from Harry Potter. Gives the prediction.
Luna Lovegood, is that her name?
No, not Luna Lovegood. I'm talking about like Matt, the Professor Trelawney.
Oh, the teacher. Okay.
Yeah, like Professor Trelawney. Like I want her to give us like I want like segments where she gives us reality TV on like a mystic ball or something.
I'm not gonna lie, the more I see Kendra, I think the hotter she gets.
Hey yo.
I love Kendra. I think she's great.
I always liked Kendra.
I just thought everything that happened in Tribal, no matter what was said, somebody could have breathed heavy, and she was like, and it's just like not everything in Tribal is that interesting. It's like
I think Kendra.
I think this is me just wearing my negative hat of the new seasons. Like I nitpick on everything. Just like
negative Nelly Bryan.
I am, man.
Oh,
so it's 90 minutes.
Kendra.
We spent like 5 minutes looking at Kendra's face, where we could have maybe seen Julie and Couture have a conversation once out of this whole season, about lawyers.
Oh my gosh, the spices.
A lot of lawyers this season.
Flames all over the place.
Yeah, hey man, I'm annoyed that we're getting the show already in February. Can we get a little break here?
Listen, there's something to it, and we're not one of the podcasts that really goes into this or tries to fall into it too much. You know, everyone really does say we have our complaints about new Survivor, and a lot of it in past seasons it became way more about like the sob stories, right? And who can have the best, saddest story to help you win the game. And I don't feel like that really came into play too much this season, which I do appreciate. And look, I want to hear people's stories, and I do. I don't want that to be the reason why you're going to win a game, right? And I'm glad that I don't think that really came into play much, or if at all, this season. More so, if so, that it can help like kind of suppress that conversation, especially online, right? Because it's been so heavy the last few seasons, whether you think it's deserved or not. I'm just glad this season really did just come down to like the relationships of the game and just deserving winners and challenges, etc. We're not talking about a soft, horrible winner with a goofy story that wasn't featured, or you know what I'm saying? Like, does anyone kind of feel like my vibe on that?
Out of these three people in the final, yeah, I'm fine with no outside story being a factor here.
Didn't need it. I liked all these people. I did think it was interesting though to know that Austin was an alternate. I thought that was fun.
It's cool, but it would not have changed my vote.
No, it changes absolutely nothing. But I just think
they made it seem like it was going to change people's vote. The Kendra was like, "Oh my god, he was an alternate."
Yeah, I didn't care.
That changes everything.
I predicted it in the stars.
Yeah,
I didn't know alternates.
I didn't care.
Professor Trelawney.
I didn't care. But
I want to know who
it's a fun fact,
for.
fun trivia.
Who was supposed to be on this season?
Yeah, like I want to know those.
Blowing it all up.
Yeah.
Instead of
Who's the
miss?
Neville
Do we get
Longbottom
them
of
in
this
46?
situation?
Do I care? Is this going to be another Bruce? Like, because whatever. Just keep that information to yourself then.
You didn't get a lot of Bruce. You didn't get a lot of Bruce this, but I thought we were going to get a little more feature to Bruce. Really didn't say much. Made some like
Did he say
facial
anything?
expressions.
I mean, they just kind of made fun of him because he had his idol when he left. That's pretty much all Jeff did.
Yeah, D did throw some quick shade. I should have played it, Bruce. Psych.
And that's something that like they need to have this live. They need to stop doing it. This after show is not interesting to me. It's
Facts.
people need to sit on their emotions for 6 months.
Yeah, I
and come back
hate
pissed off. Like that's
I
what makes.
could
And the
not
people that
agree
didn't,
more.
the people that aren't in
Yeah.
the jury, that gets a disservice to them. Like there's so many people
Bring
that
them
we don't
back.
know much about. We need to talk. Those people deserve some camera time, in my opinion.
The
They
final
deserve that
three-
camera time, and like these conversations are all like they don't mean anything.
Yeah, they're so.
People are-
It's all like fake happiness.
They're eating
Right,
pizza.
Yes, and the people that I really want to hear most from, the final three, especially the two that didn't win, those are the opinions I'm actually most interested in. Of course, the winner is excited. Of course, the rest
Yeah.
of the jury members are like, "All right, we just voted. Like, what do they care?" Like, I want to know about the other two and what their thoughts are once it has settled. And like this after show immediately after needs to go away. This needs to be a thing of the past. Like,
I agree.
I want to see a Russell Hantz level reaction where he thinks he's won for 10 months and then he gets
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
I like those things.
so much more interesting.
And then we could
So
guess
much
what?
more
We could come
interesting.
on this podcast and speculate it. Like we could do heavy speculation. We can dissect the jury questions. We can dissect the speeches and like it.
Yes,
I think
and I
just
like to say,
completely
let's
falls
get
flat.
granular. Let's get
Yeah.
granular.
Yeah, because we could do like how fun would it be to predict like who each juror is voting for.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like,
We
that,
could like
like,
all have our picks. Like
a strat chat like
Absolutely.
yeah,
pod.
you know what I mean? And
A
I just
nice
think
little-
it's just such a. It's such a.
Come on.
That's probably the worst change that they made in the show.
When did they
How do you
change
go from
that?
5 to winner?
Well,
That
airs
is
the
wild.
same.
to
COVID.
me.
It still airs the same, dude. They go from the like 10 months ago to a live finale.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they don't like.
Oh, really? I thought it was an.
See, that would be a good. I like what
I'm
you're
still fine
saying
with
there,
that.
Brian. I
would
like
be totally
that.
fine with that. I'd be
If that
totally
was
fine with
like the final jury was last week and it ends and we don't see it until the reading is the next week, that would be sick. I would like that.
but I would be very okay if it went to the old ways.
Like
Yeah.
Jet, like as soon as D wins immunity or whatever, we get the final three. They always do like, "Hey Jeff, go jump in an airplane." And
Yeah,
then-
exactly. The montage where he's like he swam
4
from
minutes.
Fiji to
Oh
New York.
look, it's live.
Yeah.
Like it's not like we have more time as a show to.
No,
Oh,
you're
yeah,
right,
you were
you're
getting,
right,
like, the
you're right, you are
helicopter.
right.
No, but
Right.
at least they all voted, and then they don't actually know how it turned out.
Yeah,
until they
exactly.
get
That's
there.
that's the part that
That's the
and then
part that
people we
makes
don't
the
get to see.
after show more interesting, because these conversations, like, they mean so much less because no one's had any time to soak in
Yeah,
what has happened.
Mhm, mhm.
Because even if they're coming into the conversation like, listen, like, let's not be naive, right? Even in the old school way, they're coming to this reunion knowing who voted for who. Like, you might have your one-offs, but most people would probably already know who voted for who. Like,
Unless they tell you in a clause like, yeah, you can't tell anybody who you voted for, which would be sick.
it's possible. That also doesn't mean though that they didn't privately. Like,
Fair, but
you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure we all can find
it's just a
each
better
other on social
reunion.
media,
Everything
like,
about it is
whatever.
better. Like you said, I
Yeah,
don't care.
still,
Like I don't care about the behind the scenes
Yes.
and you're eating shitty pizza from Fiji that probably
Right.
is
It
not
should
any
not
good.
happen directly after. You
Yeah,
have
yeah,
no
that's the
time
biggest
to take
blunder.
anything in. Yeah,
The
it
biggest
is.
blunder in the new
It's
era.
horrible.
You would have the
Horrible.
opposite. This episode, it's like, oh, D and Austin, the love story. We
Yeah.
love each other. And then like if it was 10 months later, like, yeah, we broke up. Sorry.
That'd be awesome.
Well,
That'd be
right,
awesome.
like
you
literally,
got
that
him
relationship
sulking and all
means
pissed
nothing,
off,
but
right?
that
Like,
relationship
like,
is
I
the
got
reason
done
why
dirty.
I won.
And that's why the Rob when Boston Rob proposed, like that was cool. Like at the reunion, like they were still together, and I don't know. You know, I'm not
Amber.
listening about those lovey-dovey crap when that stuff, but it's
I mean, she
better
did
than
have
this.
money.
But it
That
means
lovey
something because
dovey.
we've been
Money.
removed from each other for some time, and now all of a
Yeah.
sudden,
Austin
like,
needs to lock it down. D's
Yeah.
got $1 million. D, will you marry me?
Well, she's probably got like 450 after taxes, but you know, she's like, I
She
give
gave
it
it all to her
and I
parents.
get it. I get the sentiment, right? But I always crack up when I hear this part, right? Where she's like, I came on here so I could retire my parents. I was like, well, I hope your parents are pretty old and have some savings already because you ain't got that much to give them to retire
No.
on.
If they just stayed in Cuba, they'd probably already be retired.
For you give her like give a half. Here's a 200K guy survive forever. It's like how much milk costs now.
Yeah, dude. Pennsylvania groceries, man, are out the roof.
All right, I do want to ask, just so you know, how I think we should start our like tradition now. You know, who's that like famous like singer who gives the money out? Like the who?
Sia.
Yeah.
Sia. Okay. So instead of we don't have any money to give, but I think we should do a reality guys like season coverage. Like we should do our like person of the year, and maybe we send them like a Chili's gift card or something. You know, something. You know,
What about like a reality guy shirt?
oh yeah, reality guy shirt. You know what I mean? I just thinking of like Mike. I'm basically thinking
we
of
gotta
this
get
like
reality
I
guy
love
up.
that.
We gotta
This
get
is a
reality guy
Dundee.
up. That's what
Fun.
we
That
need to
is
get.
so fun.
This is a Dundee, basically. Me and
Dundee.
Brian have talked about we are gonna do that like in the new year. We'll have like we're gonna do like an award show. Like
Yes.
and we're gonna do it. So okay.
You
All right, guys,
won a reality guy, and it's like a guy like
That's
going like
actually
this,
pretty good.
like
I
holding
like
a
that.
TV. Yeah, it's really fun.
A guysy.
You want a guysy.
A guidey Dundee. All right, so we have to I guess either majority vote here, but Brian, who was your cast member? Who is your person of the season?
That I like the most, or
Yeah, who you want to
general?
get the damn fake award we don't have that doesn't exist yet?
I think I like Caleb a lot, or Sifu. Caleb or Sifu are my two.
Ooh. Kyle's face. Kyle, I got to go to you now after the reaction. I actually got go ahead.
I would love to talk Sifu.
Listen, I'm on board for Caleb. I'm totally on board for Caleb. I'm sorry, I cannot support a vote for Sifu. I don't understand what the game reason would be behind that. I can't understand what the personality.
I just like him. It's just a like award.
Why? I don't get it. I'm sorry, not my jive.
That's fine. That's fine. Hey man, this is my podcast.
Right. No, it is your podcast, but this moment is my opinion.
I listen. I mean, Kyle's a house guest on the CBS things. Like I feel like
I'm just joking.
I know.
No.
I totally back the Caleb thing, but like we're not gonna have this kind of conversation without talking about Jake. Okay, like he had a troubled way of getting here, but like he definitely did do some things game wise that at least allows him to be part of the conversation. If we're talking about Caleb, how do you not talk about Jake? And
what about Emily though?
Okay,
Fuck
so
him.
I'm gonna say
Fuck him.
that the only interesting thing about tonight was Jake. So I vote for Jake. He's the only person I care to talk about.
Yeah, honestly, I was gonna say
That's a
my guy this
Christmas
season. I
miracle.
think
Kyle
was
and Brett
Jake.
agree?
I'm gonna agree with you. I like Jake. I think he made goofy. This is my thing, right? If I'm going to talk about everyone who's going to start, like if you've gotten this far, and you're going to be mad at me, like, what are you talking about, Bill? You said he was a dope. You've made fun of moves you said all season. It's like I like good reality TV characters. I definitely got a little teary with him when he was getting emotional with the fire stuff and saying it's one of the best moments of his life. I'm like, damn, all right, dude. I've enjoyed him. But he's had a lot of blunders. We've got to make fun of him a lot. And frankly, as like a host of a show and stuff, like I've enjoyed talking about him. And I almost picked Emily for the anarchy.
No,
Just for that face, basically. See, Kyle, you know what I mean? Like Twitch.
If you look back at the past several seasons of this,
Billy is such a bully.
Jake is like who they go to be like, hey, remember, this is a show that's fun. We like this. It's entertaining. And then everyone else is boring as hell.
Yeah,
So,
I'm totally fine with Jake. Can we get an update on why he fell in the fire? We are episodes and episodes and episodes, and that never.
I want to make sure he's not dying. This is like a Grey's Anatomy
crap.
episode.
They didn't do
like
that.
there's some symptom that we got to solve.
Kicked some dude
here.
out last season because he took the wrong medicine before he got on the show, but they can't check on Jake, who fell face first into open flames.
They did check on him. They said he is fine.
Wait,
this man just had a moment.
did they?
Leave him alone.
Wait, Kyle. So
I just
you can tell him that he won a reality guy, the first ever reality guy. Or
Yes.
I'll come on and tell him.
You are the first reality.
You want me to come on and tell him, like, and here to present the award, the host of Reality Guys.
we see you, Jake. You
When and
finally
if
won
he comes on
something.
Strat Chat, we will tell him that he won the very first reality guy.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
actually, you know what? Maybe why don't I record
Sorry to
like
Brian.
I'll record like
Acceptance
us
speech.
presenting the award to him. Like, and the award goes to it. He's gonna be like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah,
Like, what is
Bill,
this?
you-
Like, you're welcome. Don't
Yeah,
you
well,
question it. You're
we
welcome.
need like 2 or 3 other people. So Caleb can be another one. Then we need 2 others, and then like you would open an envelope. And
I'll
it's like,
open an
okay.
envelope. I'll pop their things, their faces up. I know how to do. I got time, guys.
So
I
what's
got
the
nothing
other
else
one?
to do right now.
I said
Do Austin
Sifu, and then
just so we can-
and Emily. Sifu and Emily are the other ones.
I was say do Austin just so we could tell him he lost because he's a cook.
This is when you
Whatever. I would love to bring Emily into the
LVP.
conversation just to tell her she didn't win.
Well, no. But I can tell you this right now. Like when we do the award show, like one of the categories we talked of, it was like it'll be like in the competition realm. It's like dumbest strategic move of the year. Like him telling D will probably be a nominee because he. Has a
I mean, we
dope
could
move.
that it's for now it is, but I'm sure we'll see dumber stuff than that.
No, I will. It'll be a nominee. It'll. You
Well,
know,
we need to
someone
have
will
a
get the
standard. If there's
present.
5, maybe we could see 5 dumber things before the end of the year.
Dude, this thing is like blowing up my head now. Like we're gonna get like other hosts we know to come on and be like guest presenters, pop in and out while we're hosting and emceeing it. We need a musical guest.
I
Musical
mean, this is
guest
stuff we
now.
need to do like in the same place, though.
Yeah, we definitely do. Yeah.
Is Jake the first person to break a challenge in 45 seasons?
Jeff
We
was
never talked about
bad.
that. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
It happened on Surviving Barstool.
Yeah, it happens on normal
Spoilers.
shows, but not with
Spoilers,
Jeff.
I
Like,
got $10.
if you break it, you can't play anymore.
When we end this,
Look,
I
I thought
heard
that was
that.
dumb.
guys tell
I
me
thought
what
Jake-
surviving Barstool even is.
that was
like-
such an L by Jake. Like, just Jeff's been yelling at you the whole time. Listen to the man.
He
I think
didn't say
that was
anything
his
about the
downfall.
possibility of something breaking. Like I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know that.
It's definitely not a thing.
Kyle,
You got
Surviving
Shooting people
Barstool
running- Yes.
is
Surviving-
way better than the show.
So Kyle,
Are you
surviving
being sarcastic
Barstool
or being
was
serious?
I'm being
I
dead
never
ass
know it,
serious.
Brian.
I'm being dead ass serious.
It was a spin-off. It's a show on Barstool Sports where they do like a pseudo survivor show, but they're just doing it in their office for like a week. Like there's like,
Okay.
and they took like it's basically like a basic version of Survivor, aka like the basics of it. It's actually free now on their website, so you can watch it. It's,
Yeah, 'cause I was kind of following on your socials, and obviously
Like
they,
what-
they
yeah,
were
like, what
kicked
are you
off
guys
of
talking
wherever they
got
were.
my
They were,
stamp.
like,
It's got my stamp of approval on it.
listen,
send it
Brian's
to
not a
YouTube.
Barstool guy or anything.
I don't even like Barstool.
that.
I thought it was
For
good.
him to get like
I
a
don't even know what
stamp
the
of
hell
approval on that
Barstool
is pretty
is.
good.
It's like if us and Strat Chat and then another
Yeah.
channel all worked in an office together and we're like, hey, let's just play Survivor and live in the office. It'll be
Exactly.
fun.
Let's
We
just play
games
Office
and-
Survivor.
And we're gonna do that once this page gets big enough. We're gonna do it.
We are gonna do our own. Me and Brian talked about like
we
after
could already
watching that,
do
like
that already.
We don't have a
wanna do it.
location. That's the problem. We also we can't take off work for 2 weeks and
Well,
I
no,
can.
but like, I've certainly
We could
played some of
rent
those.
out
I've played
a
some of those
hotel for
online games.
3 days.
Billy.
I also have children.
I'm off right now. Yeah, listen, I'm in a very sweet spot right now of not working and my kid not being here yet for the next 6 months. All right, there's a sweet spot.
Yeah,
you need
I
to
have
learn
6
how to
months
like
of
play an
freedom.
instrument or something.
4 or 5 day weekend. Do it 4 or 5 days, rent out.
I agree, Brett. You do
Yeah.
it like a beach Memorial Day weekend esque type thing where we do a Jersey Shore esque house where you vote the people out, but they actually are still
They
there
stay in the house, yeah.
because they're the jury. It's basically like a shitty version of Love Island.
Yeah.
Or more
You
so like
say
F-Boy.
shitty though, but
or
like
Temptation
honestly better
Island.
because
You can do as many
no
games.
one's playing for clout. They're just playing.
No,
for
they're
actually
just,
to
they're just
win.
playing for
Like,
keeps,
You're
Kyle.
playing for
They're
a reality
keeps.
guy.
right?
They're playing for a They're playing again for a Cheesecake Factory gift card.
I just came from an event tonight. I went
Get
to
real scrappy.
6 teams.
Bitches be hungry.
I like Cheesecake
What'd
Factory.
you say, Brett?
I just came from an event through my church tonight, and there was like we got into
Church.
6 teams of 6, and then we went face to we played games against each other, and basically my team was in the championship against another team, and then one girl lost, so we lost. So that second.
What was it? Was it Billy Bobby's Bible thumpers or
We did it like what I'm saying is
It was a hall brawl in the church.
we did it in 1
Brian's an
hour.
ass.
We didn't vote each other out. You know, that's a little
okay?
like,
We didn't vote anybody out. That's
Did you
fair.
watch Righteous Gemstones? Did you ever see that?
yes.
Was it like Billy Bobby's Bible thumpers? Was it like that?
Billy
Not
Bobby's
sure, not
Pop-Up.
entirely. I don't think so. It was more like the Adam Devine
That's
Strong
so
Camp
funny.
thing where you have to lift the
Look,
cross.
Oh, the Lord's Force. It was the Lord. Oh my
The
God,
Lord
that's so
Force.
funny.
Light
Oh,
as
that's
the feathers,
Workaholics.
stiff as a
I
board.
forget. If you two haven't watched Righteous Gemstones, you need to watch it. It's very funny.
I watched like 7 episodes
That
of the
show's
first
so damn
episode,
funny.
and I was like,
It's
I don't know
funny.
what this is.
No,
It's
but
funny.
what Brett's point,
Can't
its
tell.
point being again is that like normal people
can
can
do it,
understand
yeah.
and enjoy just like competition, right? It doesn't need to have like a ton of bells and whistles to it. And so
Well, the thing about having money is it's the filming that is the problem.
the camera guys, because like we can't
that's what
film
makes
it
it
and
good.
host it at the same time.
Yeah, it's gonna be really hard to do that.
Everybody just wears a GoPro.
There's an element of it
That's what
being
I'm saying.
really
If
funny where
everyone
everyone's just holding
sets
cameras the
up
whole
their
time.
own, right? Just hold your own.
Everyone's
Who
just
cares
holding
what
iPhones
happens?
at each other.
I do like
time.
the Love Island comparison where you have like a camera in a corner of a room and it catches the entire room. You can do that setup, but again, it's just like we need to get 15.
We
cameras.
also are definitely going to hire a Scottish guy to be like our narrator, like
and Ian Sterling.
Yeah, like but like a guy that costs like $20 an hour.
No, we should hire a chick with big boobs.
I don't think that's necessary. I like the other version better. Like, what if it was like Reality Guys and Strat Chat? You already have a built-in.
That's the
7,
tribes, man.
What if we just like
I guess
kidnapped
that's
a bunch of
6,
people
actually.
and went in the woods, and then we pull our iPhones out, see, to go from there.
Throw each other off, or we'll kill you.
Play dodgeball in the woods for keeps.
Why do you have to kill people?
I think we might call the show for keeps.
Brett always goes to like a shade too far.
Well,
All
it
right.
reminds me of a show called Kill Theory, where it's a bunch of friends camping in the woods, and they have to kill each other until there's one left.
Oh my goodness gracious!
So it's like Survivor a little bit.
I think it would be. I think it's a ratings juggernaut waiting to happen. Listen, overall, like I said, I'm glad we could get to an end of like a Survivor season and just like be able to talk about things, enjoy it, have criticisms, but I'm not saying this. Survivor is not back. I'm not going there yet. So everyone slow your rolls, but it might not be like in like the ICU. You know what I mean?
Can we talk about the preview real quick?
Oh yeah, let's talk 46.
Cass looking like a bunch of happy people again. I don't know how I feel about it.
Thank you. That's what I thought.
Doesn't make me look good.
Stuff to happy people look at.
I didn't
Like
the preview for this season last year was like, oh, the villains are back.
there were no villains.
There was no villains. Like I
Yeah.
could have sworn they said Austin was a villain or something like this time last year.
Yeah, it just didn't. I wasn't getting the good vibe, but everyone's just happy to be there, which is what
I don't think you're ever going to get away from that, frankly. They're always going to be happy to be there now.
Well, here's the thing
Yeah.
is, as Emily learned, you can't be an asshole because you get voted out or targeted. You can't, like, she was the asshole, the villain, and she quickly had to change her tune because she was next to go.
You can be a silent asshole. You don't need to say the things that she said in the beginning. You can be like a Sith Lord, and you like are me like in your confessionals. You're a jerk,
Like
and
Kermit.
then yeah, exactly.
That is not why Emily changed her tune. All right, let's just speak.
Emily changed it too because the lights got turned, the spotlights.
Right. Emily came in guns ablazing, racist as hell. And then production said, slow it down. You actually have a smart mind. We don't want you to not be
She's
a
a
part
financial
of the
analyst,
main,
Kyle.
Right. We don't want you to not be a part of the main storyline. So clean your shit up. And that is what she was talking about tonight in this finale, when she was like, oh, I learned some things. I learned how to turn my game down. It's like, you didn't learn how to turn your game down. You learned how to turn your racism down. And then all of a sudden you want to work with the colored people. Like, she is just too much. So I'm sorry, like, Emily sucks. And that is exactly what it was.
This is a real take pod.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna be honest. Like, the season's over, right? Emily had a very strategic mind. It doesn't mean that she wasn't good at the game. Like, you can be racist and still good at the game, but that's what it was. That's where her motivation came from. She came guns out of blazing over Bruce, and she didn't know him from Adam. So, like, what was the point of that?
Mine more so is when she talked about later about like not allowing, when she was talking about, like, I guess it was Caleb and her, who was Caleb, a couple of people where she was basically saying two black people aligning was a little, like, I don't get it. I don't like
she
that
couldn't have it. She couldn't have it. And then all of a sudden she's
it
like,
just seemed weird.
maybe I
don't
can
know.
work with Caleb. Maybe I can work with him. It's like, right, because somebody from production said, hey, what are you doing?
Weird vibe.
Yeah, and she was like, oh, all of a sudden Caleb's great. He's great. I love him. And it's like, you're full of crap. It's like, full of crap. Somebody tuned you in.
She made the game harder. It's like making the game harder on yourself. That's all. it makes yourself have to have these conversations you don't need to have.
It is. But look at Brett's face. What do you have to say? Go on.
He knows.
Go on. Season's over. Go on. Say something.
I mean, I liked Emily in the first episode or two because she
You
was
loved
mean.
Emily all along.
No, I don't like. Okay, so for one, I liked Emily because she was a bitch, and it's funny to see people be a bitch to each other, call out Bruce, call out whoever. I don't give a shit. The moment she changed and she's like, "Oh, look, I'm learning. I'm a good person." Blah 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 blah. That's boring. I hate that. I never liked her for that. I just thought she was gonna win from episode one because I was reading into the edit. And other than that, I didn't like her as a character. I like Jake as a character. Katura grew on me as a character. And I think there's some I don't know what Emily was. You're trying to pull race into this and all that stuff. I don't think that was necessarily what she was thinking. But
No.
going into Big Brother, the season where the cookout existed, before that season, I was going to apply and I was like, I know exactly what's happening because they did the diversity thing. I'm like, there's gonna be an alliance, and I'm not gonna be able to talk against the alliance. And everyone in that, like, basically the cookout won, and then the next season, Kyle. The other Kyle, White Kyle, he called it out, and then they basically
He was like a
shot.
Mormon, right? He was Mormon
Yeah,
Kyle.
he's the Mormon guy. Yeah, and
TikTok
basically,
dancer.
like as a white guy, I feel like I'm just like, oh, I can't say things, or
I
I don't
no, I
dislike.
know what you're saying.
I'm here to win, man. I want to win, and if I see something happening in the universe, I'm gonna counteract it so that I can win.
I think I know what you're saying. I think there is like the difference between like objectively saying like Emily was just putting pretty straight shade out there and saying your point of being like it is a tough thing to navigate now because a lot of times a conversation does revolve around whether it is diversity or like I talked about before, whether you're having someone's say more diverse history that people aren't used to. It does make it seem like tougher when you might have some straight shooters that may not give a shit about that and want to just play a game. But do you have to care about that? Right. There is a level of like, where does, old kind of Survivor or old reality TV and competition sense now have to kind of make room or kind of be hand in hand with like a more social game and a more, frankly, like equal game? Like, I don't know. Like, Kyle, what do you think?
I think a lot of things. So I guess my next question is really like for Brett. Do you think so? You're trying to say that you could have already pre-seen the cookout coming? You think that was just coming because of what now? Why were you so sure that that was going to be such a successful thing?
So yeah, like so you said you thought Emily was targeting the people on this show because of the color of the skin and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's what made me just kind of think about Big Brother. I saw the cookout being a thing because I was like, oh, they're doing a diversity initiative to be half and half or whatever the goal was. I was like, I see this as an opportunity for the people on that side of the spectrum to team up and make sure they win. Not that I disagreed or thought it was a bad thing. I just saw it as a thing that might happen. So as me, if I were to be on the show, I know that that's a viable option. And clearly I'm not a part of it. And that was my whole thing with like I knew the cookout was going to exist before.
So, like, what you're saying is like basically because of like kind of like public initiatives to make sure that casts were more diverse, there was a chance due to the structure of it that maybe inadvertently you're kind of setting that up. I think that's what it's saying. How it's like almost like you're setting it up. Like if you're gonna dead make it something 50-50 or set kind of almost quotas of how we are going to like break up a cast, like by formally setting that up, does it encourage it? Does that encourage like race based, religion based, gender based, even, which we've seen in other shows even this season? Like, I mean, I think it's a really interesting conversation just about how
No,
you cast
I
shows in
agree. I
general.
actually do like I
No,
see.
it is. Like, honestly, I think this is
No,
a
it
really
is.
good
No, I think it
conversation.
is a
I'm
very
like,
interesting
it is.
conversation.
It's
And
like,
I don't
how do you even like frame that? Like,
ironically, I don't think it's black and white. I
yeah,
do think it's
I don't think
except that it is. And I think that it's interesting, because yes, one can maybe infer that like, oh, okay, there's a possibility for this, but I do think that is something that these games need. People like me walking into one of these games, I already know I'm at a disadvantage. Like there is something to be said for walking into a room and seeing people who look like you. And I'm not even necessarily just saying
Mhm.
Black people. When I walk into a room, I'm also looking for other fat people, because those are the people I'm going to connect with socially who are going to help me advance, because we are all with the same disadvantage. I'm going to look for other people who are, well, I don't consider myself gay. Like, I'm pansexual, like, so I have I have a different label, but I'm going to look for the others, right? Because I want to band with the people who are most like me, because I feel like we will be working with the same level of advantages and disadvantages. And that is where race comes into the conversation. So if you're inviting all these other people who are at least the same skin color as you visually, yes, I'm drawn to those people because I associate myself most with you. It doesn't mean that I can't vibe out. Like, my partner is white, you know what I mean? So, like, it has nothing to do
I
necessarily
mean,
with
yeah, you
race.
hang
It's
out with
not
us.
about,
We're
yeah,
all white.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
we're
I fucking love you guys. You
yeah.
know what I mean? It has nothing to do with excluding somebody else, but it has to do with what group do I feel the most comfortable with, because they're on the same vibe as me, and like
And I
that's
think that,
that's what it is.
honestly, Kyle, like the way you just vibe, that is probably the best way you could describe whether the most fair criticism. If you don't want to use even if people want to go use the word, the vibe that Emily had with some of those players, her natural vibe wasn't
Right. She took
positive.
one look at him and she was like, "Oh, you were on last season and you don't look like me. Get out of here. Like, you
But
gotta
yeah, I
go."
think
And it's
yeah,
like,
you just the comments is what bothered you. This show is a social experiment, and
right.
that you actually used to lean into diversity groups with
They would talk
Yes.
about this on the show.
yeah, and I just
Yes.
feel like they don't do that anymore. And I think that's another thing that's kind of like I thought the point of the show is to make it look like the real world, where there's like you look at somebody
Yes.
differently until you actually have to
Right.
meet them and you have to
You're
work with them.
stranded on an island with them,
Yeah,
right?
and I'm
Absolutely.
assuming
So
Big
many
Brother's the
times
same
when we
way.
have, yeah, Big Brother is the
It's
same way. We're
it's a
having
social
this
experiment.
diversity
They say it's a
conversation.
social experiment.
Diversity is not just about skin color.
Yeah,
Diversity is about different body types. Diversity is also about, like, one of the big things that we talked about on Big Brother 25, when you're talking, especially on Strat Chat, we talked about all the times having equitable competitions. So like your 50 and 60-year-olds have a chance of winning some things against the people who are these very, very fit 20 something year olds. I'll get the fuck out of here with your flexing. But that's what diversity is. It's not just about color. We hear diversity, we automatically go to race. And like that's not where it ends. That's a part of it, but like there's a lot
yeah,
of things that go into diversity. And like that's a
yeah.
huge conversation to have. Um,
And I thought the show used to do this really well with like I said, the casting, like the seasons were titled for something of like a different type of diversity, like your job and like your upbringing and like stuff like that. And this
yes, but they
now
did
it's
they
just
didn't do it
one
in
group
terms
of
of
people.
race, because when you're talking about diversity
Yeah,
in those older seasons, you still only had your one or two token like
yeah,
people
you're
of
right. You are
color.
right about that. It's
And
that.
so
Yeah.
like it didn't lean in fully to the diversity
Hmm.
yet.
Hmm.
Like now I feel like we're truly having that conversation. Maybe not so much in Survivor, because we're not getting our plus size divas, like I'm not saying any big girls or big
Yeah,
guys,
I feel like they
but
used to have more like bigger people in the older seasons than they do
mm,
now.
There was not a lot of body diversity. You are right, though.
I'm talking in the new shows you're talking about.
This season, I didn't feel like
Yeah,
we
I
had a
mean,
ton
like
of that.
I feel like there used to be a lot
Cast
more
a
bigger
bunch of people
people.
that used to be
Yeah.
fat when they were kids, like Jake in Austin.
right, not enough.
They
I
didn't
want,
cast them when they got
Yeah.
skinny.
right. I want
I
to see
was a
fatties
fat little
now.
boy and I hated myself and I couldn't talk to girls, but now I'm a big man and I'm a lawyer.
Again, everything is always like it is always like the rags to riches story forever.
Yeah.
There is always like
Yes.
I think though, to be fair though, like for straight white guy stories, there's not many stories that people really care about us anymore.
I mean, I don't care about them. It's the
So
same
it's
bunch
like,
of crap. Who cares about that stuff?
I honestly would always apply and be like, well, I lost my job and stuff for no reason in corporate America, so I just applied for Survivor because I had time. I feel like just
And you know what,
cast
dude?
that
They
guy.
would, your resume would go right to the top because that's what they do on the show.
Because you're
Mine
trouble.
wouldn't, but mine wouldn't be a sob story. I would literally just be like, well, I mean, I would want to. I mean, I'm not working, so I'd love to get $1 million. Like that's all their whole motivation. They'd be like sitting there like, Bill, let's do your confessional. I'd be like, I already told you guys, like I am not working. I want to win $1 million. Like this seems pretty straightforward, right, guys? Like I don't give a shit about any of these people. I'm gonna pretend like I care about them, and maybe I will end up liking some of them, but I don't really care about them until this game's over. So like, but again, like you have to play a great balance now, and I think they have.
I'm gonna be super nice in person to everybody and make everyone try to like be my friend to the best way I can. But I'm gonna talk mad shit in confessionals.
Well,
And I'd be fine with that. I
right,
think I
that
would be
is the
totally
game.
fine with that.
We should put
I
out. We need to
might
get
cheer you
someone who
on, as long
apply
as
for
you don't get
Survivor.
crazy in those confessionals.
We need to figure out a way. I think our buddy games is our better shot. Us just all going on buddy games.
Yeah, I'm not going
trying
on
to get it on Survivor.
I'm not going on
Survivors,
Survivor.
dude. I'd rather
No.
go on Big Brother, and I
thanks.
make fun of Big Brother. But at least you're in a house. I'm
At
trying to
least you're
like
in a
sleep in the
house,
woods.
you get properly fed, right?
I'll tell you
Sleep in
one
the
thing, man.
woods.
Those challenges where they wake you up in the middle of the night, screw that shit. That is some
I
bull.
would fucking love that though.
Well, yeah,
That
but
is the
Brian, you
Big
have
Brother
kids. You already know how to get
experience.
woken up in the middle of the night. You're all right.
I'm
Right,
past
you're
that
used to
point in my
that.
life now. I'm sleeping at night.
I'm sleeping.
Right,
I don't want to
you're
be in a
also-
kayak with Bill for 24 straight hours. Like, get
But
the
you're
hell
also
out.
probably conditioned for the nonsense. like you're always being woken up for something silly.
Yeah.
So like, yeah,
So Brian's out on buddy games. So
No,
we
I would
need-
do buddy games. I would 100% do buddy games.
Oh, okay.
100% do buddy games. That looks
Well,
fun.
see, the problem with buddy game, because I looked into applying for that one, you have to apply as a group of like 10 to 20 people.
10 to 20. We don't have that many friends.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
There's like five.
Also,
We thought like I thought the three of I thought there was gonna be like 3 or 4 of us that could apply, and we were straight. Like
the 3 straight white guys apply, like, oh, maybe half of us get cut. So for me, I'm like, no, I'm not really feeling that option, you know. So like if reality guys and Strat Chat went together to be on buddy games, like I think a lot of reality guys are getting cut.
I mean,
From
yeah,
the-
we probably all. I mean, be fair. I mean,
I
what guys?
I feel like Kyle's gonna get on.
I feel like the 3 of
He's probably gonna get on, and then there's 2 spots left.
But I'm going to talk objectively.
Good luck.
And this isn't shade. I think because those games are basically just physical challenges. Like the 3 of us would be like the best physical challenge guys. But
The
Brian's like,
Don't you count out John? John can do stuff.
is that a challenge?
I don't know.
I don't doubt that he can't do stuff. I'm just saying
We didn't say you can't do
4
stuff. We just
people
said
can be on
top
the show.
3. That's not
Only 4
bad.
people can be on the show, so that's the thing there. But
Brett like played real sports. I was the captain of the swim team. Brian probably played real sports.
I did.
Yeah, see, so I didn't play real sports, but like I said,
I'm
it's
not
just
afraid
fun.
of like if I'm on the show, I'm not
I was
losing.
in
I don't
music.
losing's not in my blood,
I was in music.
especially when I compete against people that
So basically, this second half though has been like a real honest conversation about like Survivor, like casting, Survivor dynamic. I think it's honestly something we should continue to talk about with like a lot of our shows. I think it's honest conversation.
Yeah,
I
it's
appreciate
interesting.
everybody on the show giving honest opinions about like what they've actually thought about like what was going on, because frankly, you don't really hear that a lot of places. People don't feel comfortable enough to share their opinions without worrying about people hating them after. So, frankly, I just want to say good job, guys.
Twice, 3 times, 4 times, something can't.
I just think you guys, I mean that. I just think honestly, when you have these kind of conversations, they can go sideways. And I think frankly, this just like shows that like you can have these conversations. So
Absolutely.
really cool. Kyle, Strat Chat podcast. What's going on? What are you guys doing coming into the new year?
Gosh, we're wrapping up Survivor as well. On Thursday, tomorrow. I believe that's at 9:15. We're doing that right after Reindeer Games, and then we're wrapping up Reindeer Games at 10:15. Yes, ding 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 ding.
People here don't like Big Brother, so sorry.
What's that?
I said this channel doesn't like Big Brother.
We're not level. Don't even start with this. It's a whole other episode.
I love Big Brother, and Big Brother Reindeer Games has actually been a hoot and a half. So if you're not watching, like that's your loss, because it actually has been like super fun. And we're picking up the challenge again next week. We're skipping it this week because obviously this is finale week of Survivor, finale week of Reindeer Games. But yeah, you can find us at Strat Chat Pod. We're live every Thursday, usually 9:30 and 10:30, but obviously this week, obviously shifting, because of the finales. But yeah, come hang. We're always live. We love when people hop in the chat. Absolutely.
Cool. Our stuff, we're on TikTok. We're here on YouTube. Plenty of stuff has been announced, premiering in January, February. So everything from Vanderpump, Survivor, Love is Blind coming back on Valentine's Day. The Traders is coming back with weekly episodes. We will be back, all of us, to review that. There is Love Island All Stars coming back. Brian and I will be on that. That's going to be in the UK. We don't know how many episodes in the format yet for that. We'll let you know. Obviously, the challenge continues into the season, and plenty more. Southern Charm, things like that are also finishing up. Brian just finishing up Love Island Australia. We had what do we have? 90 Day Fiance,
That just finished up.
the reunion.
Doing a
Yes.
Korean show right now.
Oh yeah, what is that? Singles Inferno. We're
Yep.
covering. A lot of people are watching that. Crazy.
I don't know
People love it.
why,
It's
but
number
they
one
are.
show on Netflix. It's like Netflix crazy. People love it.
I don't get it, but I'm here.
We're here. Brian's there covering the obscure. We just finished things also talking
I'm
about
watching
Netflix,
it and I
like
don't know why.
Squid Game.
Yes.
But yeah, make sure you check out the Strat Chat, especially. We do a lot of cross collaboration, and especially in the new year, look out for a lot more. We want to figure out ways to just like do things that can go both ways on the chat for the channels, or half here, half there, whatever. But they're awesome. And we love to have John and Gina also interacting with the crew. Having all of us together would be a lot of fun. So look out for that in the new year. We'll make it work. But for myself, Brian, Brett, Kyle, thank you so much for watching this season. We'll see you in February. Peace.